for more insight into the sanctions on Zimbabwe, Piers Pigou, an international crisis group senior consultant for Southern Africa, joins me live via Skype from Johannesburg. Good evening, Piers.
Good day to you, Vincent, and to your viewers.
Now, let's first talk about the nature of the sanctions and how effective they have been anyway up to this point.
Well, you know, we're talking about a set of what some people describe as targeted sanctions, which are against certain individuals and certain entities, companies, farms, and so forth. At the moment, the list is being whittled down to about 85 individuals, and I think it's 56 entities. As I said, this involves a number of companies, some farms, several entities which are directly linked to the ruling party, ZANU-PF. Now, the list was significantly bigger than this in its heyday around 2008 and expanded up to I think over 140, 150 individuals and 80 or so entities. And a number of those people have been taken off. But if one looks at the list, and I had a look at it earlier in February, and I don't think it's changed since then, there are a number of people on that list who you could ask why are they still there, are no longer directly associated with the ruling party and so forth. So there's a sense of laziness in some respects, Vincent, that there hasn't been a thorough review.
Now,
but, you know, what is the impact, you ask? And there's a huge question about the impact. With people arguing that these measures are responsible for the economic conditions that Zimbabwe finds itself in. Frankly, this is not a sustainable argument. These are targeted measures which may well have chilling effects beyond and impacts beyond the individuals and entities that are being targeted. But these are not general comprehensive economic sanctions that you'd see against a country like Iran or North Korea.
Now, Piers, some have looked at countries that have been under sanctions and said, at the end of the day, those who suffer actually, just the citizens, the ordinary citizens, the leadership and those in the elite class don't seem to be seriously affected. Is that the case in Zimbabwe?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, I understand this argument is made by a lot of people, and we've seen the resuscitation in the last month or so in the wake of the protests and the violent clampdown that followed that, a resuscitation of not only a regime change narrative and allegations against domestic civil society players, the opposition, and their so-called international sponsors, but a resuscitation also of the sanctions narrative that had been sort of quietly tucked away by the new administration of Mnangagwa. Indeed, both Emmerson Mnangagwa and his finance minister, Mthuli Ncube, have both said that they can no longer use the sanctions argument. They both said that last year. It's interesting that Mnangagwa and a number of people around the government and ZANU-PF have resuscitated that in this way. There is essentially no evidence, Vincent, strong evidence to show how widespread the impact has been. And it's unlikely that a set of measures that restrict certain individuals and entities, and I should just point out, these measures do not stop trade.
Okay. Well, Piers, thank you very much. We do appreciate your insights. We'll look in again one of these days. That's Piers Pigou, who is an international crisis group senior consultant for Southern Africa.